Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the webinar on the IHL Code 13 on Decode the Immunoscience of Age-related immune-mediated diseases. My name is Nasima, and I'm going to be your moderator today. And before we start, I just want to share some informations with you. So firstly, we are recording this session and we will be publishing it on the IHI website. We will also publish the presentation slides. The call will be launched shortly, and all the links and details of how to apply will be published on the IHI website and also on the Funding and Funders portal. Another important point, if you have any questions, please use the chat function on the right corner of your screen and we will get them at the end of the presentation. So today I have with me online Paloma, who is scientific officer for this topic, and she's going to kick off with the presentation. We also have Nadine Bisman from Sanofi, who is going to present the topic itself. And we have Jörg Backenstein from Sanofi as well. Finally, we have Carolina, who is our legal officer. So now I will hand over to Paloma.
Thank you very much, and welcome everyone to this info day on the Code 13. Today webinar we will cover we will make a short introduction to the IHI program. We will share a few words on the program for those that are not familiar with it. Then we will hear from the topic writer, who will present the topic 3, and it will be this session will be led by the pre-identified industry consortium. We will briefly cover the submission and evaluation process, as well as some tips for interested applicants. But please note that that we will not cover rules and procedures. We will have a dedicated webinar on these aspects next week on Tuesday, on the 30th in the morning, and also all the content will be published online from today's webinar and from the webinars taking place next week. Okay. Just a few words, as I already announced on the IHI initiative, the Innovative Health Initiative. We are a EU public-private partnership in health between the European Union, that is represented by the European Commission through different DGs, including DG RTD, DG Connect, and DG Sante, and the healthcare industry, that is represented by different associations. And in particular, we have COSIR, that is representing the medical imaging, radiotherapy, health ICT, and the electromedical industries. We have FPA, which includes Vaccines Europe, representing the pharmaceutical and vaccine industries, Europa Bio, representing the biotechnology industry, and the MedTech Europe, that represents the medical technology industry. The general objectives of IHI are established by the Strategic Research and Innovation Agenda, and there are 3 main objectives that our program address. The first is to turn health research and innovation into real benefits for the patients and the society, to deliver safe, effective health innovations that are able to cover the entire spectrum of care, meaning from prevention to diagnosis and treatment, and in particular in those areas where there is a gap, where there is a particular unmet public health need. And of course, we don't forget that we are a public-private partnership, and we want to make Europe health industries globally competitive while delivering innovation. If I had to mention like some features that are common from IHI projects, those will be that they are created via open and competitive calls for proposals, that they are cross-sectorial public-private partnerships, leveraging both private contributions, and these private contributions may come from the industrial partners from the different industry associations that I presented in the previous slide, and also where relevant, contribution from contributing partners. And this must be ad hoc, approved by the IHI governing board for the different topic. And the private contribution is leveraged also with public funding that comes from Horizon Europe via the European Commission. The Strategic Research and Innovation Agenda is therefore the guiding document, is our Bible, is the document that defines the areas in which IHI should work, and is the document that helps to guide the organization decision making, which ideas should be turned into call topics. This is the main purpose of this strategic agenda. The focus is a cross-sectorial approach. It's really focused on these cross-sectorial approaches to facilitate the creation of new products and services to prevent, intercept, diagnose, treat, and manage diseases and foster recovery more efficiently. And the main goal established by this agenda is to lay the foundations for the development of safer and more effective healthcare products or solutions that are able to address unmet public health need, and that can be, in fact, implemented into healthcare systems. And it's very important to mention here that the research supported by this program should remain at pre-competitive levels. So there is an expectation from the different industry partners to work together, benefiting not a single company, but benefiting a broader scale. Before going into the topic content, let's see how this two-stage call procedure works, because call 13 is a two-stage call. And the call topic is being prepared by the pre-identified industry consortium that have aligned to work on the same challenge and to commit resources. Once these topic texts are approved by the governing board, the call for proposal is launched. And at the stage 1 of the proposal submission, the pre-identified industry consortium steps aside and is the applicant consortium who will prepare a short proposal addressing the challenges that are already specified in the topic text. This applicant consortium is typically formed by academics, hospitals, regulators, patients organizations, SMEs, or profit entities with an annual turnover of less than 500 million. And these short proposals should be submitted by the deadline of the stage 2 and will follow a competitive independent evaluation process by a panel of experts. Then this panel of experts will prepare a ranking list, and only the first ranked proposal will be invited to the second stage. This is a very big difference between two-stage call and the single-stage call. And at this stage, the applicant consortium of the first ranked proposal will need to prepare the full proposal. Now together with the pre-identified industry consortium that already prepared the topic text. And this full proposal will be evaluated by a panel of experts. And if successful, they will be invited to prepare the grant agreement that will lead to the signature of the grant agreement. In parallel, the consortium will need to sign a consortium agreement as well, but this is only between the consortium partners and without involving IHI. And now we will move into the content of the topic itself, and I would like to invite Nadine Bisman from Sanofi, who will be presenting the topic 3 of call 13. Thank you, Nadine.
Thank you, Paloma. So welcome, everyone. So really exciting to be at that stage currently and tell you a bit about the project, which we call Decode, the immunoscience of age-related immune-mediated diseases. So quite a long text to start with. So if we go on the next slide, I think what we all are aware of is that we have an increasing aging population, which will rise up to 21% for people aged 60 and more. And this, of course, is a big challenge for our healthcare system. At the same time, we do know that age is directly correlated with a number of immune diseases. And by just living longer, people will just live longer in an ill state of health. And we understand more and more that aging and the immune system are strongly correlated with each other. And when you go on the next slide, what we do understand, and I use here just an example of IBD, which is just to exemplify what we are interested in and what we believe should be studied a bit more is there are diseases where we do see a second peak of onset of the disease, which is called elderly onset disease. And here, as an example, on the left-hand side, you do see this, for example, in Crohn's disease. And there are some epidemiology data available, but we do not really understand the molecular signatures of these diseases. We do also lack the better understanding about what is this treatment response, because we often exclude the elderly or the frail patients from these cohorts. And I think the key question is the elderly onset disease different from adult onset disease, and do we have the right biomarkers as well as the right treatments for this population? I think in the middle part, you do see an older review which speculates there could be the disease could be more driven by acquired mechanism versus genetic mechanisms. And I think this is really what we want to address and get better understanding about the mechanisms driving diseases, immune-mediated diseases in the elderly. And to do this, of course, this is a mixture of expertises. So when you go on the next slide, you do see we bring together or we hope to bring together people which on one hand have the clinical experience in rheumatology, gastroenterology, and respiratory, which are the diseases or the disease areas we want to focus on, and then have experts both from the aging world as well as from the immunology, omics, and digital work to really have the multidisciplinary expertise to address this healthcare challenge. Of course, this is a combination of academia and industry, and also includes a number of regulatory questions, for example. I think it's planned to be a long-term collaboration where we can really share infrastructure and the continuous insights. I think what is important is that it will include patient cohorts as well as biobanks, and I will go into this a bit later in more detail. I think we're looking for partners that also have EHR and real-world data, have expertise with digital biomarkers, and I think we aim to bring in also consortia and data sets that are already available. I think from a resource perspective, you heard already it's a multi-disease narrative where, of course, there might be cross-disease synergies or mechanisms that we could identify in this cohort. I think looking for multi-omics capabilities, AI/ML, there is opportunities for federated analysis, as well as there is an observational cohort included in the topic text, which means also expertise on patient recruitment and clinical expertise is needed. I think this is an opportunity as well, because you will see that we have on one hand interest into biobanks which are available and reanalyzing some of the data, and it also includes an observational cohort. So this enables parallel execution where you can start already with data mining while you look for new cohorts. And I think it's a multi-year collaboration to keep in mind. So when we go on the next slide. Now getting a bit more into some of the key questions, and I might duplicate some of the things you heard already. So I think one piece is really to compare elderly to adult onset disease, which includes analyzing patient heterogeneity as well as treatment response to identify cellular and molecular drivers of immune dysregulation and aging, and also study factors which either cause elderly onset disease onset or disease exacerbations which happen in the elderly, all with the focus on the diseases that I mentioned before. I think it also includes investigating aging factors, which means on one hand immunosenescence signatures, but also serology or digital biomarkers that could really help us also to think about health span in a longer perspective. It includes understanding better whether chronological versus biological age is important, and also age-related physiological changes. And it should include chronic inflammation, comorbidities, disease history to really have a picture, because I think that might be one of the big challenges, because we do not speak about a patient that has just one disease. when we look at the elderly population, as well as the potential positive impact of vaccination, which of course is linked with immunosenescence. I think then the third pillar, which is important, is to evaluate prevention and treatment strategies, which means validating shared pathways between diseases, as well as identifying new targets, assessing disease and treatment response predictiveness through biomarkers, which could really help us from the global challenge, and then also to exploit digital health technologies as potential novel biomarkers in the field. So on the next slide, to share some of the expected outcomes. Of course, the basis is advancing the scientific knowledge, which is really limited for that specific questions. So linking the aging biology to immune dysregulation, then looking into early detection and diagnosis, which might be linked with predictive biomarkers, classical ones or digital ones, finding tailored treatment opportunities for the specific ages or disease profiles, and also developing new therapeutic and healthcare innovations which can be optimized treatment options for certain subpopulations, and then translating this also to patients, which might mean we need to establish regulatory pathways for these novel intervention strategies and biomarkers and then adopt it clinically. So on the next slide. To go a bit more into the depths, I think, from a perspective of the European Union. So I think the personalized prevention and care is one of the impacts, which could mean that we decrease the disease risk and manage the severity for the populations, really focusing on biomarker-driven new treatment approaches for these late-onset immune diseases. It can mean improved patient outcomes as well as cost efficiency. So if we enhance in general the quality of life for healthy individuals and patients, this will reduce the healthcare costs. It might help to accelerate the adoption if we translate the innovative and preventive therapeutic strategies for healthy aging into patient and healthcare systems benefits. It's a federated innovation, so really working together across industry and academia, across different expertise levels, to really integrate this and be able to really tackle that huge challenge altogether, and then support EU policy goals. Of course, boosting EU leadership with innovative diagnostic and digital healthcare solutions, which is also aligned with the AI Act and the European Health Day Space Regulation. So next slide. I think now it might get interesting what we expect on one hand, starting here with expectations of the industry consortium. So I think industry is expected to bring in expertise in target discovery, biomarker identification, AI-driven analysis, regulatory science, as well as therapeutic modalities, and then bring in also disease knowledge for immune-mediated diseases in the areas of interest, rheumatology, gastroenterology, respiratory, as well as in immunology, aging, and translational sciences, and bring in resources, which means either access to retrospective data sets, be it as an example, FinGen, Open Targets, UK Biobank, as well as real-world evidence cohorts, and then also proprietary data sets of patient and control cohorts for verification and federated analysis models. And I think looking at the topic text, I think that the control cohort group is something also to consider carefully. So on the next slide, we come to the applicant expectations. From an expertise, we're really looking for expertise in the consortium covering immunology, aging biology, immunosenescence. From a clinical perspective, gastroenterology, rheumatology, and respiratory, and then biomarker, immunophenotyping, immunogenetics and epigenetics, microbiome, metabolism, and spatial technologies, and then expertise in data science, bioinformatics, as well as AI development. The research capabilities should include multi-omics expertise, which is including sequencing, data handling, and analytics, but also clinical trial setup, logistics, and conduct, including data and biosample handling, biobanking, and also then running a new prospective observational cohort and analyzing this protein. From an asset and infrastructure perspective, it's really important to have access to relevant registries and large, diverse longitudinal patients cohorts with epidemiology and broad patient data, which includes also patient samples. Biobanks really with cohort data and relevant tissue samples, as I just said, and then a data infrastructure for large data handling and analytics with strong IT, AI, and bioinformatics support. So next slide. So the key facts from a budget perspective is financial contribution by the IHIJU of 9.2 million, as well as industry in-kind contribution of 9.2 million as well. So overall a budget of 18.4 million euros and an expected duration of 60 months. So
thank you very much, Nadine. At this point, we will continue with the aspect related to proposal submission and evaluations. All the questions that are, I can see that there are questions coming in the chat, and it will be taken at the end of the session. So if you have questions today, you can put them in the chat and it will be replied by the topic writers. If you have questions not today, you can always contact functional email applicants at ihi.europa.eu, but please do not contact the topic writers. We will centralize all your questions. We will check with the topic writers if necessary to provide you the right answer, but please do not contact the topic writers at any moment. Okay, then moving into the proposal submission and evaluation process. Okay, let's see. Okay. On the submission, some elements that you need to take into account for the submission of this short proposal. The proposal template is composed by Part A, Part B, and some annexes. So Part A of the proposal is the administrative data that has to be entered in a web form through the Funding and Tenders portal. The Part B is the core narrative part, and this includes 3 sections that mirror the evaluation criteria: excellence, impact, and quality and efficiency of implementations. Please, in the proposal, in the proposal template, read the instructions very carefully because it gives you guidelines on how to fill in what type of information you should include. And then you have an annex, which is the participant type. This is the 3, let's say, blocks of information that you will have to submit at this stage. Proposal, short proposal, the page limit is 20 pages. And these are the different elements that you will need to provide at this stage. On the evaluation, as indicated, the evaluation criteria are mirroring the proposal template, the narrative part, the Part B. Your proposal will be assessed based on the excellence, meaning the clarity and the pertinence of the objectives of the proposed project, and the extent to which the proposed work is ambitious and it goes beyond the state of the art, so the innovative potential. And also the soundness of the proposed methodology, how robust the proposed methodology, the proposed approach is. On the impact, is the credibility of the pathways to achieve the expected outcomes, or how realistic the pathways proposed to achieve the expected outcomes of impacts are, according to those specified in the work program, in this case, in this particular topic, and the likely scale and significance of the contributions that will generate the project. And the third criteria, which is the quality and efficiency of the implementation, is the how the proposal is planning to achieve the objectives on a more practical, from a more practical perspective, the quality and effectiveness of the of the outline of the work plan, and the capacity and role of each participant, and the extent to which the consortium as a whole is bringing together the necessary expertise to carry out the proposed work. You have to bear in mind that there is a threshold of 3 per each criteria, and there is also an overall threshold of 10 out of 15, meaning that if you have only reached the threshold for the individual criteria, 333, still you will have to reach the overall threshold of 10. So it's not enough to have a 333, let's say. You need to also to comply with the overall threshold of 10. In this final section, I would like to share some tips for the applicants. Well, the first tip is can be very obvious, but it's very important. And there are very relevant call material documents, and in particular, the topic text. The topic text is the guiding document. Your proposal will be assessed according to what is written in the topic text and the evaluation criteria. So it's really important. Every word matters, and is a key document for preparing your proposal. We always advise to start with your consortium idea as soon as possible and already think about this public-private partnership approach, having in mind that there is only one proposal that will go forward and will be invited for the second stage. So you need to really be very careful when assessing what the industry is bringing. And this is specified in the topic test and has been presented by Nadine. And you need to ensure the best possible match and complementarity with your proposal. So read very careful, the expected expertise and resources from the public consortium side. Ensure that all the information requested in the call text and the proposal template is provided. Do not miss any relevant element, because this will allow the expert to easily find the information and to easily assess your proposal against the evaluation criteria. And as already introduced by Nadine, please consider and plan for the potential regulatory impact of the results. We have also a guide in our website that can help you on this particular aspect. To some useful resources to find project partners, because you will need to build or a consortium or joint consortium that is being formed. We can advise you to use the EU Funding and Tenders Portal Partner Search tool, or get in touch with your IHI national contact point. And in this link, you have the list of the different national contact points responsible for IHI, or of course, network on the social media. Follow IHI in LinkedIn, in Blue Sky, where you will see, a series of information about our projects, and also the different consortium and the different beneficiaries. And I think that this is all from my side. And I think that now Nassima has a few words to say about what is coming up next week.
Yeah, thank you, Paloma. Thank you, Nadine, for the presentation. So before we open the Q&A session, I just want to let you know that we are holding other webinars for Code 13. So as Paloma was saying, we'll have the rules and procedure for two-stage calls next Tuesday morning, and we will also have webinars on the two other topics that we are having for Code 13. So if you are not registered yet, I will invite you to do so. So now I think that we can stop sharing the slide and we can open the Q&A session. So I will start with the first question. When is the deadline for this call?
I can take that. So we don't have yet a deadline for this call because it will be announced when the call is launched. But we can anticipate that the call will be launched in the coming weeks. And normally it's about 4 months from the call launch to the call closure of this stage 1 for the short proposals. So you can have a look, for example, at the call 11 that was launched last year. It was launched by the end of June, and the call deadline was somewhere in October. So this is the average timing for from the call launch to the call closure.
Thank you, Paloma. So the next question is on the submission. So you say that one short proposal is invited to submit the full proposal. So what then happens if the full proposal is not evaluated positively at the second stage of the call?
Well, this is that could be very unfortunate if the proposal is not evaluated successfully. Because then, and here maybe Carolina can help me.
Yeah. Thank you, Paloma. Yes, indeed, this is a very unfortunate situation, and hopefully this will not happen. But if it happens, this is pretty much the end of the procedure. There's no possibility that we go back and we invite some other procedure, some other proposal to this evaluation. So, yeah, let's hope this doesn't happen.
Thank you. The next question is on the topic. So what are the requirements for the group composition? So the person is asking, is it principal investigator from several EU countries or inclusion of company is required?
I'm not quite sure what is meant by principal investigator. Maybe Paloma, you can help me. If this is a question about the composition of the applicant consortium, then maybe I can answer. So indeed, there are minimum requirements as to the composition of the applicant consortium. So in particular, from how many countries the applicants need to come from. And the minimum required is basically 3 countries. Either members of the European Union or associated to Horizon Europe. But this is, but in terms of, and then is the company required, inclusion of company required? Well, I assume that the person who asked this question is asking whether it is required that members of the industry participate in the applicant consortium that is preparing the proposal. There is no such requirement because there is the pre-identified industry consortium already, which consists of members of the industry. So there is no requirement that in the applicant consortium, there is more companies, right? It can be just an academia and SMEs consortium as such, yeah. The applicant consortium. I think more or less this is what the question is about.
Thank you, Carolina. Then can the topic of cancer/aging be fitting for this call?
I think this is Nadine.
I think we are very specific on chronic inflammatory diseases, which excludes cancer. It can be looked at as a comorbidity, but I think the focus is really chronic inflammatory diseases, which is complex enough, I think.
Thank you, Nadine. Then the next one is, do the applicants of pre-proposal have to be in contact with the pre-selected consortium in advance?
They may not. is absolutely prohibited. And I've seen on the chat that there was a couple of questions on this, the same thing. So it's absolutely, please do not contact the members of the pre-identified industry consortium. This webinar now is the only opportunity to ask questions about the call topic. And after that, this is not possible. This is one of the main rules of a two-stage call. So I've seen there was a few similar questions like that on the chat.
Thank you, Carolina. The next one is the transition from childhood to adulthood eligible for this call?
I think you heard in my presentation that we are interested in elderly onset diseases and to compare them with adult onset disease. So I would say no.
Thank you, Nadine. Then the next question is on the consortium size. What is the expected consortium size and minimum number of industry contributing partners for call 13?
So this is a very similar question like the one that I answered already. So when it comes to the minimum numbers of the participants of the consortium, as I said, the minimum requirement is 3 participants from 3 different countries. I would like to invite the person who asked this question also to participate in the webinar on Tuesday morning, where my colleague Desmond will be explaining the rules and the eligibility in more detail. So indeed, there is a minimum requirement, but this relates mostly to the geographical location. So there needs to be at least 3 participants from 3 different countries. Now, I understand that in the person who asked the question is also asking about industry contributing partners. So in the language of IHI, these are 2 different things. So industry participants and contributing partners are 2 different things. So there is no requirement that in the applicant consortium there are any industry participants, meaning that there are any companies from the industry side in the applicant consortium, because we already have a wonderful group of industry participants in the pre-identified industry consortium. Now, contributing partners are a completely different category in IHI. These are entities which are not the members of the industry associations that also join can join 2-stage calls at the level of the pre-identified industry consortium. And in this call topic, we actually do not have any contributing partners in the pre-identified industry consortium. So again, I would really like to, there's a few similar questions like that on the chat. And I would like to invite everyone to join the webinar on the rules and procedures on Tuesday morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolina. And you might take the next one. Can a translational SME laboratory take a work package lead role? And what are the in-kind contribution requirements for SMEs?
There are no requirements for SMEs to contribute in kind in the applicant consortium in the 2-stage call.
Thank you. The next one then is for me. Is there a brokerage platform or matchmaking event, especially for Call 13, where we can connect with potential consortium partners? Last year you launched a matchmaking platform for IHI Call 12. Will it not be available this year? So Call 13, as Paloma said, is a 2-stage call. Comparing to call 12, who was a single stage call, and we only launch the brokerage platform and host matchmaking events for single stage calls. So unfortunately for call 13, we won't have any brokerage platform and we won't have any brokerage event. Then the next one, should we cover all 3 diseases included in the call text? Oh, sorry, Nadine, we couldn't hear you. Nadine, you're muted.
Now?
Yeah, perfect.
Very strange. Okay, it absolutely should include all the 3 areas that we mentioned, so not just one. And when you read the call text, there is also some diseases mentioned under gastroenterology, rheumatology, and respiratory.
Thank you. And then we have someone asking, how do you expect a digital biomarker would be used in drug development after the project? Is it as a secondary endpoint, for screening, for additional evidence related to the quality of life?
I think, of course, we would hope that we will define and find a digital endpoint that can be included in the future, also for regulatory.
Thank you. We have another question on the topic. So, can other respiratory diseases such as tuberculosis be eligible for this call?
I think infectious diseases are out of scope, and you will find more information in the topic text on what specific diseases we would include under respiratory.
Thank you, Nadine. Then the next one is for Carolina. Can UK investigators be involved as participant and or PI?
Again, I'm a legal officer, not a scientific officer, so I'm not quite sure what investigator and PI means. I think Paloma can help me here. What is that?
So, I mean, is this the? Sorry, can you repeat the question, because I cannot
I
see
think
now the chat.
something about whether investigators can participate. I mean, if the question is whether legal entities from the UK can participate in this call and receive funding, the answer is yes. But investigators, I guess that would mean physical persons. If this means physical persons, then, well, it should be the university that participates, not physical persons, meaning the researchers. I hope this helps a little bit. But again, please come to the webinar on Tuesday on rules and procedure. But yes, legal entities from the UK are very much eligible to participate in this call topic and are very much eligible to receive funding as well.
Thank you very much, Carolina. I think that was the question.
Yeah, I think maybe that was the question. Thank you.
And then we have, is Vietnam eligible for this call?
Yes, so legal entities from Vietnam may participate in this call topic, and also Vietnam is qualified as what is called a low middle income country, and those type of countries, Vietnam is on the list of those countries. Participants from those countries are eligible to receive funding also. So from Vietnam, yes.
Thank you, Karina. And someone is asking for Kazakhstan as well. And
I think same.
I would have to check on the list.
Yes, I'm checking the list now, and I think Kazakhstan
You
is
can
also
see
considered.
Yes. So there is obviously there is a document on our website. Frequently asked questions. I see there's more questions about more different countries. I advise that the participants check this document, so maybe we will not be answering each country separately, and we leave some time for the questions on science. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Carolina. So the next one is on the topic. Will the topic encompass all relevant dimensions, including understanding, prevention, diagnosis, treatment, and care?
Yes, that's absolutely the ambition.
Thank you, Nadine. Then we have someone asking, can you expand on the meaning of expertise on therapeutics modalities? Do you mean mode of action?
So I think there might be a misunderstanding, because this was of the expectations for the industry consortium. And there it means understanding different really therapeutic modalities, being it biologics, small molecules, antibodies, nanobodies, and so on. So really the modality itself, but it's not expected from the academia consortium.
Thank you. Then the next question is, again, the same as we already addressed. Can the applicants contact directly the pre-identified consortium? No. Is there a functional mailbox? Yes. So on the slide that Paloma presented, there is an applicant's mailbox. So if you have any question, we are centralizing all the question through this mailbox. So please use it and send your question through this mailbox. Yeah, and I saw that Paloma just put it in the chat. Thank you, Paloma. Then the next question is, could inflammatory myositis, I hope I say it well, be the topic of investigation?
I think we were very clear on the diseases of interest, and inflammatory myopathy is not included in it. So have a look at the text with some of the examples and try to focus on this.
Thank you. Then we have, what types of digital health technologies are you considering? Actigraphs, smartphone apps, etc., or is it entirely undecided?
Maybe I can take this one. I think this is open also to who comes in with which type of expertise. And for the moment, this is, I think, open to discussion and evaluation once the two consortia come together and decide how to best move forward. I think this is going into very much into the details of the final application.
Thank you, Jörg. The next one is, to what extent can an applicant consortium anticipate having access to datasets from industry?
If we go to the history, it all depends on what type of data sets are useful and can be shared in terms of proprietary data sets from industry. So there again, it's a question of what would make most sense from the consortium and what is free to be shared from industry partners. And this, each and every single industry partner has to decide by themselves. We cannot decide as our company has certain policies, other companies have other policies. So that will be decided on a case by case by each partner.
Thank you. The next one is on contributing partners, and the person is asking, shall contributing partners participate in the first stage?
So I think there might be a little bit of confusion as to the terminology. So the person who asked this question, perhaps, so contributing partners in two-stage calls normally join the pre-identified industry consortium. As I already mentioned, I think in this particular call topic, there is no contributing partners in the pre-identified industry consortium, and there is also no requirement that any contributing partners join the applicant consortium. So so the short answer would be no. The applicant consortium can be just formed by SMEs and academics. There is no need for any either industry members to be present in the applicant consortium or any contributing partners to be present in the applicant consortium. I hope this answers. And again, I would like to invite everyone to the rules and procedure. These are the type of things that we will talk more about in the rules and procedures on Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolina. Then the next one is, approximately how large do you expect the study to be in number of participants, number of countries, and number of sites?
I think that's an interesting one, and I'm looking forward to see to discuss this in more detail. But I think there are two pieces that should be considered. I think one is the biobanks which are available and could be used to run multi-omics studies, where you do not have a prospective cohort. But I think this could answer already a number of questions. I think for the prospective cohort, you need to have sample sizes that are sufficient to really address the questions asked. So I think at least you probably need 20 people per arm, and need to think about, what different cohorts you would need to do the comparisons that we envisioned in the text.
Thank you, Nadine. The next one is, are dissemination, exploitation, and communication activities expected to be included? Or how activity should a patient organization be considered as a partner?
I can take this one. So for the first question, is the first version of the plan for dissemination and exploitation, including communication, will be only request the stage 2. So if you look at the proposal at the template for the proposal submission, you will see that there is nothing requested there, and it's also mentioned that this only requested at stage 2. As for the question on the patient organization to be considered as a partner, it's important to highlight that IHI has a very patient-centric approach, meaning that our model, the model of this partnership, really prioritize incorporating patient perspectives into the process, into the R&D, the clinical endpoints, the diagnostic excellence, to ensure that the care is aligned with the individual needs. So it's very much welcome to include patient perspective either as a partner in the consortium or stakeholder engagement, but is very much welcome to have this patient-centric approach.
Thank you, Paloma. The next one is, can a PI, assuming organization, be involved in two proposals, one as coordinator and one as partner?
Yes, that's a very good question. Well, there is no rules forbidding such situation that one legal entity is participating in two proposals, in one as a coordinator, in other as a partner. There's generally no rules. Here we have to remember that this is a two-stage call, which means that at the end there's only one proposal selected. So there's not going to be a situation where this legal entity is in two projects in this call, in one as a coordinator and other as a partner. So at the end of the day, such entity can only participate in one project. But that is slightly different with single stage calls of IHI, where indeed more proposals are selected for funding. And in such situation, an entity should always consider whether they really have the operational capacity to participate in multiple projects at the same time.
Thank you.
I hope this answers. Thank you.
Thank you. The next one is representation of ethnicities, for example, Caucasian versus Asian, within the biobanks a consideration?
Nadine or George?
I think we did not specify this in the topic text.
Okay. And again, as Nadine was saying, please read carefully the topic text. I mean, the draft topic texts are available on the IHI website, but when we will be launching the call, you'll have the final topic text. So read it carefully. Then the next one, can two startups with one university clinicum be a consortium for this call topic?
No, two startups coming from the same university, they do not fulfill the requirements of the minimum consortium composition, which is minimum of 3 entities based in different countries, but also 3 independent legal entities. I understand that if those are 2 startups of the same university, they're not independent from each other because they have the same owner or the same mother company. Without going into further details, 2 legal entities is not enough for a consortium. So you need to look for some friends for your consortium.
Thank you. Then someone is asking, is multiple sclerosis eligible?
No, it doesn't fall under the categories that we define.
Thank you, Nadine. Then we have a question here. For the stage 2, is it only one project / consortium that is selected or several?
It's only one. It's the highest ranked that will move to the second stage to prepare the full proposal. It's only one.
Thank you, Paloma. The next one is the proposed cross-disease approach aimed at identifying both disease-agnostic immune aging signature and organ-specific mechanism aligned with the intended ambition of the topic?
That's absolutely correct.
Thank you. Then I think it's the last one for now. Would the inclusion of asthma, bronchiectasis, bronchiectasis, I will do it, and emphysema be considered consistent with the respiratory disease area of the topic? Sorry, Nadine, we cannot hear you.
We specifically mentioned asthma. Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So we specifically mentioned asthma in the core topic text for respiratory diseases, but it's an example disease. So I think there is a bit of room to maneuver.
And then someone is asking, is AMD eligible?
I think it does not fall under the disease categories that Debbie mentioned, right? So I wouldn't specify this in either respiratory gastroenterology or rheumatology.
Thank you. I don't see any other question in the chat, but just, I mean, we are not, we still have time to end the webinar. So just for you to know, please take the chance to ask question on the chat, because this is your only opportunity to get the information directly from the topic writer, because as Paloma said, outside of this webinar, you cannot contact them directly. So let's see if we get new questions. Otherwise, we will end the webinar. I don't see any new questions.
Yeah, it's about the deadlines. We have a new question about the deadlines,
Yeah.
but the deadlines is because the deadlines are not yet published. The call will be published soon in the coming weeks. And when the call is published, the deadline will be published. I already announced that based on the previous two-stage call that was published last year, end of June, the call deadline was somewhere in October. So you can anticipate like around 4 months from the opening of the call until the closure of the stage 1 submission.
Thank you, Paloma. I see that we have new questions in. So beyond generating new scientific knowledge, what would success look like from IHI perspective in 5-10 years?
Well, I think maybe they can. Well, from the project perspective, I think that it was clear. I think it was already explained by Nadine, the expected outcomes, the expected impact. From an IHI project, we really want projects that are transformational, and projects that are ambitious, that are at the scale, so they can really have an impact, and they can be integrated into the healthcare system, meaning a clinical pathway, a new diagnosis method, a new biomarker that can have an impact on on how patients can access to a more personalized treatment, or can impact on the cost of the healthcare system. So we have a different, let's say, ways of measure what could be a successful project, but basically a successful project is a project that have concrete benefits that can be measurable in the terms that I already discussed.
Thank you, Paloma. Someone is asking, is immunoaging in transplantation eligible?
I think it's the same answer I addressed before. So please focus on respiratory, rheumatology, and gastroenterology, and immune-mediated diseases, which are specified in the topic text there. I think that's critical for that call.
Thank you. Can an SME have a work package lead role?
Yes, they can. They can have. There is no restriction for an SME to have a leadership on a work package in the work plan.
Thank you. So someone is telling that Australia will associate as of January 1st, 2027, and is asking, will Australian universities be able to participate?
The Australian universities are already able to participate. Their ability to participate has nothing to do with association to Horizon Europe. But without making it too legalistic, I think that the person is actually asking not whether the universities will be able to participate, but whether they will be able to participate and receive funding under this Call 13. And the answer is no, because Australia will only associate in the future, and the call will be announced now, and the call will be utilizing the budget of this year of Horizon Europe. So well, obviously they're welcome to participate, but without Horizon Europe funding.
Thank you. Then we have at stage 1, is the applicant consortium expected to already identify and briefly describe the clinical studies to be conducted, or would it be preferable to present partner-based clinical use cases and available cohorts, leaving the final definition of the studies to be jointly developed with the pre-identified industry consortium at stage 2?
I think this is for the topic writers. Nadine, you are mute.
Speak now.
Yeah, you can speak now, George.
Okay. This is always a bit difficult because we are not the ones looking at the applicants consortium. So, but designing the study itself is probably a group exercise. This will be done also during the consortium constitution, the final application. So I think these things are always open for discussion, and good ideas are always welcome. So this is a way to move forward. It's a collaborative project, so it's not one saying exactly this is how it has to work. People come with their ideas, and then there is compromise and discussion about how to best put this into music and into work.
Thank you, Jörg. The next one is to demonstrate the feasibility of the project. Are preliminary data required? We cannot hear you, Nadine. I don't know why. No. You are unmuted, but we cannot hear you. No. Yeah. If you're unmuted, but we cannot hear you. Yeah. I don't know, Jörg, if you can step in for this one. Do you want me to repeat it or?
Yeah, just repeat the question, please.
Yeah. So to demonstrate the feasibility of the project, are preliminary data required?
Definitely yes. I think this is one part of it's one pillar of we couldn't build it just on a prospective cohort, so you need some basis data to start to work on. So the answer is clearly yes.
Thank you. Then the next one is, what is the purpose of the pitch that potential applicants will be able to present on July 6th? I'm not sure what is this about. Because, I mean, we haven't announced any date yet, so maybe the person is mistaken with something else. So I'll pass this question. Then we have another question. Progression of asthma and or allergy at different stage of life, childhood, adolescence, adulthood, and old age. Is this eligible?
I'll try to step in because Nadine is still not, he can still not hear you. Try again.
No.
So the consortium and the draft topic takes really specialized about the switch from adult to elderly onset. So if there is interesting things to look at for children as a comparator, why not? But that's not the focus of the topic. It's really on the switch from adult to elderly onset and understanding what's going on in the immunosenescence part.
Thank you very much. Just to remind you, so as we said, so we're going to publish the recording of this webinar and the presentation slides. This afternoon, they will be available on the IHI website on the events tab. I don't see any more questions, so I'm gonna close this webinar. I will say thank you very much to Paloma, Nadine, Jörg, and Carolina for presenting and answering the question. Thank you to all of you for your interest, and I wish you good luck with your proposal, and I hope to see you next week for our next webinar. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.